What's going on, everybody? Josh Callaway alongside Tom Green, Sooners Illustrated 24/7 Sports. What just happened? Oklahoma came into Auburn and won 27-21. They were down 21-10 in the fourth quarter, and then it just got crazy. Kip Lewis picked six. J.J. Hester bombs. R. Mason Thomas took over again. A lot to digest. There's no way we're going to cover it all in the instant reaction. Tom, normally James and I kind of go offense, defense, kind of break it down, but before we even do that, what a win. What a crazy game. What a comeback. They looked dead, deader than dead, and they found a way to win. I don't even know if I have the words. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I thought 11 points was too steep of a deficit for
think
this team
did,
to overcome, especially, with less than a quarter to play. I kind of joked after the game, Sooner Magic apparently is strong enough to withstand Jordan Hare voodoo, because, look, I've covered 8 seasons worth of games in this stadium, and weird stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
That maybe ranks in the top 5 of craziest things I've seen here, but, man, what a wild, improbable win for Oklahoma.
So, obviously, the story coming in, the headline was Michael Hawkins, his first career start on the road. This place was rocking. Not that I've been everywhere in America, not even close, but probably right up there for best home crowds I've ever experienced. He was unflappable. I mean, did he just blow you away? Is he going to lead SportsCenter tonight? No. But he took care of the ball, completed 10 of 15, 160 yards, had some nice scrambles, the crazy 2-point where he flips. The long pass to J.J. Hester I kind of referenced. What'd you think of what Michael Hawkins did today and then the offense in general? It wasn't great, but what they did tonight that they haven't been doing is they avoided the disastrous plays. No turnovers, no safeties. They were just kind of solid, let the defense do things for them, and it was good enough.
Yeah, you kind of said unflappable is a good word. Just nerves of steel for a true freshman coming into this environment on the road, and he looked unfazed early on. I mean, that first drive, 3 plays, 68 yards. He had a 48-yard touchdown run that just out-raced everybody in the Auburn secondary. It's
right.
That was his kind of welcome to the SEC moment, and you kind of felt good about Oklahoma coming out of the gate there. Then the offense stalled out again like we'd seen, and I think for the rest of the half they averaged 2.7 yards per play, only had 43 more yards until halftime, went 5 straight punts going into the third quarter there, and then they kind of found another rhythm again, kind of like we saw last week, where he gets a little bit comfortable, starts making some of these plays here and there, and after they fell behind by 11, that strike to J.J. Hester was a game changer.
It was.
I was impressed with Michael Hawkins. He didn't blow, like you said, he didn't blow anybody away. His stats weren't otherworldly, but he limited mistakes. He took a couple sacks, had an intentional grounding penalty, threw away a couple, some smart throwaways too. But, he kind of just did what he needed to do, and Oklahoma's defense kind of carried them across the finish line eventually.
100%. We talked about it during the week, even last week against Tennessee, when it was as ugly as it gets. If they just don't turn it over all those times, they cash in off the fumble inside the 5, they felt like they could have been in that game. You saw it tonight. Even though the offense wasn't great, they were good enough. They avoided the big mistakes, and they got it done. Hard not to be really impressed with Michael Hawkins. Really cool moment post-game with his family. Just what a wild moment. That's your first start to come in there and do that. All the receivers are out. It's amazing. Defensively, it wasn't as good overall. Auburn moved the ball pretty well. Peyton Thorne had a lot of nice moments. Kenai Walker got beat a couple times deep, and you're kind of, when they score to go up 21-10, you're sitting there kind of like, this feels over. Offense turns it around, but then obviously Kip Lewis, the play of the season by far, a pick 6 out of nowhere to put him in the lead. And then they just took over at the end. R. Mason Thomas, the closer, once more with a couple of huge sacks late. Robert Spears-Jennings, a big sack. It wasn't great overall, but kind of when the chips were down, they dominated like we've seen. Defensively, I think you still have to feel good, although maybe a little cold water on the elite, unbelievable defense, but still really darn good. And when they needed to, they were elite.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them even early this season be susceptible to some explosive plays through the air, and Auburn took advantage of that. And Auburn's been one of the best teams in the country at getting explosive plays. They just had a lot of turnovers that has kind of hindered their offense.
Yeah.
For most of this game, Auburn was playing mistake-free. They were taking advantage of those downfield shots. Like you said, Kenai Walker got beat a couple times. Des Malone got beat on the first touchdown of the game. Peyton Bowen got beat on a deep ball that set up that third touchdown. Yeah. It was kind of tough sledding for Oklahoma's defense for a lot of this game. And it just felt like if they could force Auburn into a mistake,
right,
they would have a chance. And I think I told you before the game, if Oklahoma scores a non-offensive touchdown in this game, I really like their chances of coming away with a victory. And they waited a long time. they played it real, cut it real close there. But man, Kip Lewis, what a play!
Unbelievable play, and he houses it obviously. And it was funny because we were joking about it on the field, like coming in, that was the big obvious thing. Auburn can't stop turning it over. OU keeps forcing a ton of turnovers, and yet we go in the fourth quarter and they were still 0-0 in both turnover columns. But then you only needed one. It was a big one, the Kip Lewis pick six. Other things, I mean, Zach Schmidt. What a redemption story for him. Tyler Keltner out appendicitis for this game, so Zach Schmidt has to step in after he lost his job. He makes 2 big field goals, including one late that, it's not going to be a headline grabber, but to push it to 6 was huge, obviously. And that was one of the big differences in the game because Auburn kept missing field goals, so that's an underrated little storyline. Luke Elzinga, who you've been on it, was awesome. They were good kind of on the edges. Special teams was good. Anything else that you stuck out? I mean, they did a lot of little things to win, even though there was a lot of bad and ugly. It didn't look great. They did do some little things that you need to do to win games like this.
Yeah, that last Zach Schmidt field goal was very important to
to some
people. But great redemption story for him. Luke Elzinga just nails once again. We talked about it this week that the field position was going to be a big difference in this game, and he flipped the field for them a few times. Oklahoma committed a lot of penalties in this one. You don't like to see that, of course. Mm-hmm. Some of those are certainly costly. They got down to the 2-yard line and then had an illegal motion that kind of wiped out a touchdown that would have made this a game earlier on. So a lot to clean up. But also a lot to kind of hang your hat on the way to finish that game, being down 11 in an environment like this, to come back and score 17 unanswered to seal this victory and go into the bye week with some good vibes. Yeah,
on that note, to wrap up, kind of just looking ahead, where are you kind of at? It's not like, they came back and won, so they're going to run the table now. It's not. There's still obvious issues here, but it was a huge win. Really can't be overstated. I mean, I'm thinking on the field, I'm sure you are doing the press box, when it's looking bleak, like, man, how are they going to get to 6 wins for a bowl? And now it feels totally different because they put that fourth quarter together. They've got the mojo, like you said, bye week, and then number 1 Texas in the Cotton Bowl, the Red River game in 2 weeks from today. Where are you at as far as, this team can still pile up some wins? You're a little more skeptical. Give a little temperature check on where you're kind of at right now as we head into the bye week after just an unbelievable win, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, they needed this win. They needed that comeback. Like it felt going into the fourth quarter that after Auburn goes up by 11, that this season was almost teetering on the brink. And they brought it back from the edge. Bye week comes at a great time for them.
Yeah.
You might be able to get some of these guys back healthy.
Hopefully
coming out of the bye week.
A receiver or two.
I liked what I saw from J.J. Hester. I think there's something to build on there. I mean, he made the 2 best plays among the wide receivers today. You obviously had that deep bomb, but also I think it was a 3rd and 18 that he was able to convert, shake off a couple tackles.
How did he keep his knee up on that? It was like, I don't know if he actually did. It was razor thin.
At the very least, like you felt the breeze from the grass on his knee.
Yeah.
But I think there's some things to build on. You obviously get Michael Hawkins some confidence coming out of his first win. Just heal up and try to reevaluate. Take some of the things that you like from this offense moving forward and start adapting it around Michael Hawkins. And obviously, shore up some of those things on defense and hope you can get some guys healthy back for the, you're going into the teeth of the schedule now. You still got five games against ranked teams left, and obviously starts with number 1 Texas in 2 weeks.
100%. At the very least, you bought yourself 2 weeks of hope, confidence, buy-in. Not that would have been maybe an issue, but it feels a whole lot different, the fact they came back and won that game. Really night and day. What a game. Unbelievable. This place always has crazy games. You know that as better as anyone. You kind of felt going into the day like there's going to be some weird things happen today, and it did. What an unbelievable game. Awesome atmosphere, and Oklahoma comes in, gets it done, their first SEC win, first road win of the year, obviously in the first road game, and now you're on to the bye in Texas in 2 weeks. Obviously, we only scratched the surface here. A whole lot more to pull apart and to get into on the podcast on Monday, so tune in for that. Sooners Illustrated podcast, the 2 of us will get James D. Jackson in here as well. We'll break it all down. Keep an eye out for that. It was an awesome scene down here. This team really enjoyed this one. It was a party on the field, in the locker room. You could hear it. And we'll have a lot more to say and to break down on Monday. So that's it for now. Full post-game coverage both on the site, oklahoma247sports.com, as well as on the YouTube channel from Brent Venables, coordinators. Here from Michael Hawkins as well. That's all going to be on the YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for that also. That's it for now. For Tom Green, I'm Josh Callaway signing off for now from Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. Oklahoma wins it 27-21 to get to 4-1 on the 2024 season.